channel Basics of Economics. So इस channel में या in this channel I am going to tell you about not only the basics about economics but also some in-depth research about the subject as a whole for economics. So just a request to all of you who are watching my channel for the first time, please do subscribe to my channel as well as press the bell icon beneath it so that you never miss a single video which I upload regarding this concept. As well as if you like my videos, do like, share and comment below so that I would also be encouraged to post such videos for you people. So without wasting any further time on my videos and without wasting any further time from stopping you from being learning, let's get started with the video. So today is a very introductory video about economics. So this video I'm going to actually put part wise so that it's better for you to understand, as well as those who are new people who are just trying to learn economics as a subject. For them also it will be very easy and clear in this one video. So let's get started. So first of all guys, what is the first word which comes on your mind when you hear economics as a random person? So we all know that economics is a part of a science or maybe a science subject. So what is the first word which comes to your mind when you hear about the word economics? So for me, the very first word which comes onto my mind when I hear about economics is production, consumption and country. So what is production? What is consumption and what is country? Like country, we all know what is country. So country means economy. So but what is production? What is consumption? Those we will be studying about in detail. So first let us read economics as a very simple concept. So many people will think that economics is all related to charts and tables and full of charts and tables related some subject, but actually why we do prepare those charts, why we do prepare those complicated tables is because to understand human behavior, or maybe to understand rational human behavior. And what is human behavior regarding which concept we understand is fulfilling of needs and wants. That is the concept which we actually try to understand for a human being with the help of those charts and complicated tables. So for example, you face the problem of having only limited resources with which to fulfill your wants and needs. As a result, you must make certain choices with your money. So for example, we all know that human wants are very unlimited. Like whatever we like is unlimited in choice. It might be because there is a lot of production of various subjects, various things, various products in the market. That's why human being cannot actually depend on a single product for that particular item which he or she must want. So our choices is very unlimited. Like we have lot of options, but with which to buy that particular thing we have only few options. Say for example, I want to purchase a TV, an AC as well as a music system. Now it is up to me which is more important to me. Like I have only 50,000 rupees in my bank account. Now with that 50,000 rupees, which will be more feasible to buy at that point of time for me? A TV, a music system or an air condition? So that actually depends on person to person. Maybe for me it is TV, maybe for you it is air condition. So different choices it is. But one thing we have to keep in mind, we have 50,000 rupees only. That is the resource we have. We have very limited resource. With that limited resource, we actually cannot purchase TV, air condition as well as music system. All the three we cannot purchase with that 50,000 rupees. So it is upon us what we choose to purchase and what we choose to purchase for the next time. So that it is said that you will be probably spend a part of your money on rent, electricity and food. So whatever we are earning, what is the necessity we are economics is fully based on your needs, your wants. So what I want, like particularly if you have 50,000 rupees in your bank account, okay, now now just think about the concept of necessity and luxury. If you have 50,000 rupees in your bank account, what is necessary for me? First of all, I need to spend a part of that amount for my clothes, for my shelter, for my electricity, for my food. Okay, that is the major part where I am going to spend most of my amount. Remaining whatever I have, then I have the choices of either purchasing a TV, or air conditioner or music system. So the first initial part which I'm spending is actually on necessity, and the next part which I'm spending is on your luxury. So so this is it. Like, it's basically a choice of what you want and what you don't want, because we have unlimited wants but we have limited resources, so that we have to keep in mind. Okay, so this is economics explained in simple language. Now, uh, economics is also called as social science. Now, why do we call economics as social science? So, economics is a subject of science, we all know, but why it is called social science, or what? Why it is related to social science? Now, social science, social has come from the word society. Society is comprised of people, human beings. So, why economics is considered as a social science? Let us just study about that fact. Now, we know that economics is science, but we don't know why it is called as social science. Now, uh, we know that economics is basically a subject which is concerned with human behavior. So, why we call economics as social science? Like, economics is social science because it deals with one aspect of human behavior, like how men deal with problems of scarcity. So, social science is how you actually deal with the problem of scarcity. So now, what to understand by the word scarcity? Okay, so there is another concept which comes in this aspect. Say, we know that we have limited resources and unlimited wants, and how we are going to allocate those resources to fulfill our basic need that we are concentrating as for us. So social science means self-interest basically. Okay, so that is the thing, how we are actually segregating our wants and needs with those particular limited resources is what economics is concerned about. So say for example, how society is behaving. Okay, how society is behaving, we need to actually capture that data, that information, through charts or maybe theories, and that's why economics isn't pictured. So economics is basically a science, like economics is basically deals with some preparation of some scientific theory to, it actually tries to build some scientific theory to explain the societal behavior. And what the societal behavior? The societal behavior regarding the limited resources and unlimited wants. So that is what economics is concerned about as a social science. Now, we have various definitions by various famous economists about economics. So, we will be reading about each definition one by one. So, there are four basic definitions which we have. We are going to study about only those four because there are a lot of definitions, but those four are main. So, the first economics definition is from the famous economist, that is just a second, guys, just a second. So, economics is actually a very wide concept. So, it is like not in one single video I can explain to you the full concept of economics, and not you will be able to understand that it like that all in one go. But actually, we are going to develop this economic thing in our mind. So, the first definition is by famous Adam Smith, who is the father of economics, and what he told, he said that economics is a science which inquires into the nature and cause of wealth of nations. So basically, he is emphasizing on the production and growth of wealth as a subject matter of economics. So, what is wealth? Wealth means, we understand by wealth money, capital, cash, that we understand by wealth. So, he is actually concentrating into how much production and how much growth we are having on that wealth. Like, say for example, I have capital, I have money which I have invested in some production. Now, how much that production is fruitful, how much wealth as a country I am gaining because of that particular commodities production, that is what he is concerned about. So he is concerned about the study of economics which inquires in the nature and cause of wealth of nations. So what is the cause of wealth of nations? So by developing which commodity we are actually gaining more wealth for a particular country. Okay, that is his definition. So if you want to read it as like fully in a normal word, so I would like to say that economics, as per him, is a science of study of wealth only. So it deals with production, distribution and consumption. So what you are producing, what you are distributing and what you are actually consuming. That is the concept from where he has gained this concept of wealth in economics. Okay. So that is the first definition of Adam Smith. Second definition is scarcity definition, which is of Lionel Robbins. So what he has told that economics is a science which studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. So he is actually telling us about how human behavior actually it reflects on our ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. So that means how we are actually concentrating or how we are actually investing our full thinking capacity into one particular commodity which is more essential. So he is giving us the choice under scarcity. So that is where our mindset of works. So might be we are having three choices, as I told you, a TV, a air condition, as well as a music system. So which one we need to buy, which one we need to purchase with our scarce resource? That is where scarcity definition comes in. So that is why he has emphasized on choice under scarcity. Economics is concerned with that aspect of behavior which arises from the scarcity of means to achieve given ends. So what we are actually trying to achieve and why we are choosing that particular commodity over the other goods, that is where his scarcity definition lies. So if you want it in some simple words, let me just tell you. It says that ends means wants. So actually what we are trying to say is he is trying to basically say that you have several choices for a particular type of thing, but you have scarce resource. Now what you are choosing and why you are choosing that commodity over the rest of the commodities, that is where his study revolves around. Okay. Next comes the growth definition, which is given by Professor Paul A. Samuelson. He is telling economics is a study of how men and society choose with or without the use of money to employ the scarce productive resources which have alternative uses to produce various commodities over time and distribute them for consumption now and in future among various people and groups of society. It analyzes the costs and benefits of improving pattern of resource allocation. So what is he actually trying to say? He is trying to say that, just going with the definition once again, so he is saying that economics is a study of how and men and society choose with or without the use of money to employ the scarce productive resources which have alternative uses to produce various commodities over time and to distribute them for consumption now and in future among various people and groups of society. So basically he is trying to say that what are the goods and services we are going to produce with the limited resources we have. Basically what are the resources we have? Okay, we have been considering this resource and resource and resource all over. Now what is resource? Resource means with which you are helping to bring production for a country, with which you are helping to produce something for a country. Now we have basically four resources which we study in economics. First is land. Land is the place where you are actually the production is happening. Then you have labor. Labor is the place, I know it is now more of a robotic world, more of digitalization, more of technological advancement, but just keep in mind that in order to incorporate the robots functioning properly, human beings are the person who are trying to figure every in and out of that particular theory. So in this robotic world also we need human beings to perform certain work. So labor is the person who is actually working on that land. Now with what he is working, he has land, he has labor, but he needs to have certain amount of capital or money in order to invest into the production of that particular commodity. So that is his capital. And the last one is entrepreneur. Now I have my land, I have my labors, I have my capital with which I am producing some goods. Now once the goods are produced and once the persons are actually taking those goods into use or using those commodities, using those goods, next thing what we have is how we are actually gaining profit. Are we gaining profit or are we getting loss out of that particular thing? So that is entrepreneur's task. He is the person who is responsible. He is the person who is actually gaining or profiting or might be lost at a loss because of that production. So these are the four scarce resources: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. So he is saying that it is the society's mentality that what with or without that you are having scarce resource. Now how you are going to use that resource in alternative uses to produce various commodities over time which will be after that given for consumption among people, and that is how whether you're becoming a growth, whether that production of that commodity is gaining a growth for the country or not. So that he has discussed in this concept. Okay, so that is his concept, growth concept. Next is we have next is we have Keynes theory or Keynes definition. So what does he says? He says that economics, like if you just go to Keynes definition, so he is Maynard Keynes. He is defined as the study of administration of scarce resources and of the determinants of employment and income. So with that scarce resources, actually what the production is coming, with that he has determined that how much we are having employment in the country and how much income we are generating out of that employment in that particular country. So um, he is actually saying that wages and prices. What are wages? Wages is the money, like as he told that his definition includes how much employment and how much income we are actually generating out of that scarce resource utilization. Utilization means out of the scarce resource full use. So that is his concept is all about in this economic thing. Now the definitions are done. Now let us move to what are the various parts or what are the various types of economics. Now, before moving into that, okay, there are two parts if you look into basics. There is macroeconomics, there is microeconomics. But one more part I would like to include is scarcity. Now, what is scarcity? Economics is fully concerned with scarcity. As I told you, we have scarce resources but unlimited wants. So that is where the concept of scarcity lies. It tells us that we have unlimited wants but we have limited resources. So how we are actually allocating or how we are actually distributing those resources in a proper way so that we get the maximum benefit out of that, as well as what is priority for us. Say for example, I have cotton. Now with that cotton, whether I am making any cotton, say cotton wipes or some cotton wool, as in, or we are making out of that cotton a cloth. So that depends on how we are actually utilizing the resources. So, and what is the priority for us? Obviously the cloth is priority for us. So that is how scarcity concept comes into picture. What is important and what is not, what can be stopped and what cannot be. So scarcity refers to the limited nature of society's resources. So economics is a study of how society manages its scarce resources, including how people decide how much to work, save and spend and what to buy. How firms decide how much to produce, how many workers to hire, and how society decides how to divide its resources between national defense, consumer goods, protecting the environment and other needs. So as an individual, you have to decide what you want to buy, where you want to spend, how much you want to work and how much you want to save. Say I have a fixed income job. Now how much I am working? I am working whether 8 hours, 10 hours, how much I am saving a part of my income and how much I am spending. And actually if I am spending some part of my income, where I am spending, that is very important. For firm, for if say I am a firm. Firm means here industry. For example, say I am an industry. So what is my concept? My concept is to produce goods, to make goods, and so that people purchase them. So in my concept, if I think about scarcity, I have to actually think about how much I should produce and how many workers I should hire, because I have laborer constraints. I have my money constraints. I cannot invest my full capital on that particular commodity. No, I cannot do so because I have to think about my future also. So how much I should produce, how much I should hire laborers, that's where firm's decision lies. And as a society, what does we think? We think that how to divide the resources. So like as I told you, there are four resources: land, labor, capital and entrepreneurs. So as a full society, like how does the society becomes? The combination of various individuals together is termed as society. So how all of our mental conditions work together and what is very important for us, what is not. So that is where this priority concept of scarcity lies. Okay. Next comes your two basic concepts, as I told you, macroeconomics and microeconomics. So the word micro means single and the word macro means whole. So when we are talking about single, we are talking about single consumers, and when we are talking about whole, we are talking about all of the consumers together which is an economy. What is an economy? Economy is a country. So one particular person in a country is referred to as microeconomics, and the whole country together is referred to as macroeconomics. Okay. So let us see what is microeconomics. So microeconomics is a branch of economics that focuses on the market behavior of individuals and small impacting firms in making decisions on the allocation of resources. So basically microeconomics, if you see, it's like how much, what, like how our behavior or how that particular person's individual's behavior is impacting the firms in taking their decisions and allocating the resources and actually producing a particular commodity. So as an individual, if I am the only influencer of for a particular industry, say for cosmetics industry, okay. So as you know, there are various cosmetics which are new launches, some are recent launches, and so it is me as a person, if I want to stick to my old products or if I want to try new products, so it is upon my actually concept, my behavior, that that particular firm or that particular cosmetics brand is actually producing its resources, uh, producing its producing its goods, keeping in mind our needs and demands and allocating the resources in that way. So it studies the pattern of demand and supply as well as the determination of output and price. So demand and supply, what is a change? If the we all know that if the prices are high, the demand will be low, and if the demand is high, obviously the prices tends to become high. So there is an inverse relationship between price and demands. So we will learn in detail in next videos. So we are just trying to give a brief about what is microeconomics, what is macroeconomics, and what it is related to. Now we have to actually microeconomics, what effect it has, because it depends on one particular user. So it obviously does not have any huge impact, it has only minor impacts in the economy. So how much production, how much consumption we are having for that particular economy, we have to keep that in mind. Which product is very important for us, which we are producing, which we are actually instigating the firms to produce for us. So that is where microeconomic concepts lies. Next comes your, so microeconomics may be defined as the branch of economic analysis which studies about the economic behavior of individual economic unit, maybe a person, a particular household, a particular firm, and an industry. The main objective of microeconomics is to explain the principles, problems, and policies related to the optimum allocation of resources. So what is the best way of using those resources and what is the best way that resources will be used by a particular individual? That is where macroeconomics concept lies. So there are few definitions. You can obviously go through the PPT presentation for your reference so that you get more knowledge out of microeconomics part. Next, we are coming to macroeconomics. So, okay, so sorry. Before microeconomics has various influencing factors, as I told you. So it depends on individual household decisions, it depends on individual economic choices, depends on individual firms, individual consumers, and how their behavior actually influence demand and prices for a particular individual market. Okay. Next, we are going to the concept of macroeconomics. So macroeconomics, as I told you, it determines the country as a whole, the economy as a whole. Economy here means country. So what does it say? It is actually saying that is concerned on how an overall economic environment emerges from the choices made by individuals and organizations. So each individual's choices, each individual organization's choices, if put together, that is what macroeconomics comes into picture. So it studies economic-wide factors such as how much economic growth is happening because of that particular country's production choices, consumption choices, how much unemployment we are facing, how much inflation we are facing. So that are the things which that macroeconomic concepts determined. So how you are actually allocating land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur for a particular nation, for a particular country, and how much you are actually totally producing goods, how well you are using your resources to produce that particular goods, and how much unemployment or how much actual production you are having. That is a concept of macroeconomics which is being determined here. Now in macroeconomic concept, it says that macroeconomics is a study of behavior and performance of the economy as a whole. So there, as you can know, as I already told you, so there are few definitions which you can go through obviously from various persons. Now, what are the factors which actually affect macroeconomics? So it says it's a big picture where we are not taking any particular individual into account, we are taking the country in account as a whole. It's about inflation, how much inflation we are having because of that particular uses of resources in that particular production of goods, how much inflation for the country we are having, whether we are having an inflation, whether we are having deflation. We will be discussing inflation, deflation in conceptual clarity in upcoming minutes. How much unemployment we are having, how much national output we are generating, and how much we are actually gaining income because of that particular national output. So, and how much we are actually generating any profit because of that particular national output which we have generated for the country. Okay. So now macroeconomics and microeconomics both are very different from each other, though they are two a part of the economics, but they are very different. So microeconomics studies individual, macroeconomics studies whole and its aggregate. So the scope of micro is concerned with only individual income, individual prices, and individual output, what they are generating. But macroeconomics is concerned with the aggregate means the summation of all national income, their all national output, whatever they are producing, and whatever the price level is going. Inflation, up and downs in the price level, whatever it's happening. Microeconomics is basically central problem is price determination and allocation of resources. How a uh, particular individual is going to determine and allocate their resources in purchasing of one particular commodity, and macroeconomics is determination of level of income and unemployment. So for one particular person it's price and allocation of resources, and as a country as a whole the problem lies on how much you are actually making income out of that and how much you are employed. So its main microeconomics main tools are demand and supply of a particular commodity or factor, and macroeconomics tools are aggregate supply of or aggregate demand as a whole. Okay, so price is the main determinant in case of microeconomics, and both micro and macro price is the main determinant. Okay, so you can just like for example for microeconomic examples are individual income, individual savings, individual choices, and macro is national income, national savings, national choice, poverty, unemployment. These you can just go through this diagram if you want for more clarity, this chart, this table. Okay, next is similarities. What is the similarity between micro and macro we find? So micro principles is used in macroeconomics. It is a study of impact of devaluation. You are likely to use same principle. Why? Because macro is the whole concept, but micro is already included in micro. Okay. Micro is already included in macro. Macro is the whole, but micro is actually included in macro to make it as a whole. So it has some similarities in every aspect, whether it's technological aspect, whether it's cost aspect, whether it's price aspect, everything they have similarity. Interdependence, how are they interdependent? So I'm just going to read it through. Micro and macro approaches are not two independent approaches but are complementary to each other, like they go hand to hand. Theory of individual consumption behavior forms the basis of the theory of aggregate consumption function. These I'm going to define later on. Determination of general price level, which is a part of macroeconomics, depends on theory of relative price of products and factors, which is a part of microeconomics. So micro, we are only concerning about one particular production, one particular area of consumption, one particular area of national income. But macro, when we are putting all together of micro, then only macro is generating. So both of them are complementary. Okay, so there is another part of micro and macro, and which is called the uh, monetary and fiscal policy. So what is monetary and fiscal policy? So monetary and fiscal policy is basically two policies which macroeconomy follow in order to curb down or in order to calculate what they are gaining out of that whole thing. Okay, what is monetary policy? Monetary policy is concerned with the changes in the supply of money and credit. So monetary policy is basically it is the changes in the supply of money and credit. It refers to the policy of measures undertaken by the government or the central bank to influence the availability, cost, and use of money and credit with the help of monetary techniques to achieve specific objectives. So monetary policy is concerned with the changes in the supply of money and credit. So how much monetary transactions, supply of credit or money is happening in the economy, that is where monetary policy lies. Okay, it refers to the policy measures undertaken by the government. So what are the policy measures which the government is undertaking to influence the availability, cost and use of money and credit with the help of monetary techniques to achieve specific objectives. Okay, and what do you mean by fiscal policy? Fiscal policy is basically fiscal policy is means state treasury, and fiscal policy refers to policy concerning the use of state treasury or the government finances to achieve the macroeconomic goals. Fiscal policy is how government is using their money to achieve the macroeconomic goals. Fiscal policy can foster